My name is Steve. Welcome to my shop, and this is Rough Cut 2022. This is a video series, if you will, that is sponsored by Emma Ritson of Emma's Spare Room Machine Shop, and this is my contribution to hashtag Rough Cut 2022. The premise of this video is to do a short video on building a cutting tool. And some time ago I had to turn an inside radius on an item in my lathe, and I had some round carbide inserts, and I made a real quickie tool holder for one of the round inserts. It's pretty ugly looking. I'll bring you in here and you can take a look at it. And I always thought that I would like to make a real holder for it. So that is the subject of this video. It is by no means an original design. You can purchase them quite readily on the internet, but I decided I'd like to make one myself. Let me bring you in a little bit closer and I will show you a prototype that I made, and then we'll go over to the mill and I'll make one. I don't usually do prototypes. I usually do, when I'm making a tool, I usually do just a one-off. However, this is one that I've decided to make multiples of, and so I made a prototype to work out all the bugs. And I found a few. I'll bring you in, we'll take a look at it. This is the tool bit that I made real quick one day when I had to cut a radius, and I had these round carbide inserts, and I just took a piece of 3/8 this cold rolled stock, drilled a hole in it, and attached my carbide insert, and it worked okay. But I've always wanted to make a more permanent and professional looking tool. Here's a prototype of the tool bit that I made up. It's made out of 1/2 inch 01 tool steel. I used the same insert. I also purchased some other inserts. This is a little different style. It's the same size. Nominally these are 3/8. I think they actually measure 10 millimeters. So let's go over to the mill and I'll show you how I made it. Hang around to the end of the video and I will give instructions on a giveaway. I'm going to give one away. First thing I'm going to do is center the piece on the y-axis. I'll zero it. Try it one more time. Perfect. Right there. I'm going to bring it over 100 thousandths, which is half the diameter of the pilot on the wiggler. So now I'm centered over the edge. I don't have a centering function on my DRO, it's just a very simple one. So I'm going to zero it there again. And now the material the material is 1/2 inch. However, I mic'd it and it's actually 512 thousandths. And I hadn't mic'd it when I did my prototype, which is why I ended up with a couple of measurements that didn't work out quite right. So I've made the adjustments, and now we'll bring it over. I'm going to center it on my piece, so that will be, it actually measures 512 thousandths. So I'm going to bring it over to 56 and 0, my DRO. Yeah, everything that I do on the y-axis will be based off the center line. I'll take this out, I'll put in a cutter, and I'll bring you right back. And I'm going to square up the end of the stock. Okay, I've squared up the end of the stock. Now I'm going to zero out my x-axis. And all of my dimensions are going to be taken from this end. And I've calculated my numbers based on the diameter of the tool. The next thing I'm going to do is touch off on each side and mill the offset to narrow up the center of it. And I'm basing those dimensions off of the center line of the tool bit. Now I'm going to cut it on the other side. Touch off. Gotta be careful going this direction because I'm climb milling, and this mill does not like climb milling. So I've got my ways tightened up. Now I'm going to conventional mill going back the other way. that should be it. Should be the finished pass. I'm working on plus or minus 5 thousandths on most of my dimensions here. The only real critical dimension is the position of the screw for the tool bit. Yeah, that should be just fine. That's good. Alright, my next cut, I'm going to be zeroing out the y-axis. Okay. And now I'm going to be cutting the pocket in the top of the bit for the insert. I'll bring it down and I'll touch it off. Remember that this end is already zeroed, so now I'm going to go in the diameter of the insert, and the outside diameter of the insert measures 392 thousandths. So I'm going to go in 392 and down at 130. So I'm going to zero out my Z. I'm going to do about 20 thousandths at a time. I'll make it 25. Going to stop about 5,000 short, and then on the final pass I'll get the exact depth on it. Go down another 25. That should be my final cut on the depth. That should be it. Okay, that sits in there nice. Looks like I got my numbers pretty close. Alright, now the next thing I have to do is drill the hole for the insert. Well, if I calculated out my numbers right, I should be right on center. There's a spotting drill. And now I'll change it over and put the tap drill in for a 4mm by 0.70. Okay, I'm going to tap that hole and I'll meet you back at the bench. It looks like I got it right on the money. Perfect. I got no gap there. I got a tiny bit of overhang on the sides. Now the last step that I have to do is to radius the end of this. The rake on the tool bit, the rake on the insert is 10 degrees. So I've set up my sander, my belt sander, at the table at a 10-degree angle so that I can follow that. And what I'm going to do is mark this with my Sharpie. Let that dry good. Take the carbide tip out. I'm going to go over to the sander and grind that radius. Pretty happy with that. I got the radius ground on it. Now I'll take the insert out. I'm going to take the tool bit over to my Scotch-Brite wheel, deburr it and soften the sharp edges, and we'll clean it up and get ready to cold blue it. The construction is finished. Here is the finished product. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I used the Caswell system. I cold blued it. Thinking about in the future possibly heat treating and then heat blowing some. But I used the prototype a few times. It's plenty rigid, so I don't think it really needs the extra step of hardening it. Well, for those of you that stuck with me until the end, I'm going to give this tool away to one of my viewers. It's going to make it as simple as possible. All you have to do is leave a comment on this video, and I'm going to do a draw a week from Monday. And any comments that I get prior to that time will get thrown in the hat, and we'll do a random draw, and one of my lucky viewers will win this tool bit with the carbide insert and the wrench. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I certainly have enjoyed putting it on. So until the next time, we'll see you.